My name is Kevin Kettleson, Community Development Specialist with the Upper Minnesota Valley Regional Development Commission in Appleton. We serve 5 counties in western Minnesota, including Big Stone, Chippewa, Swift, Lac qui Parle, and Yellow Medicine. Provide a variety of services, including planning, grant writing, economic and community development, and regional marketing. And one of the issues that we've seen facing our region is that of workforce recruitment and retention, and specifically exposing our youth to employment opportunities and career opportunities in our region. And with that in mind, last fall, we partnered with several of our economic development and workforce partners in the region to host a workforce summit in Granite Falls, covering a variety of topics, including workforce data and trends, recruitment and retention strategies, employer and youth connections, childcare, state and regional resources, family and medical leave laws, workforce housing, and resident recruitment. If you weren't able to attend that event, we have those recordings of the sessions as well as the slides posted on our website, and I can share those, share that link with you here in a little bit in the chat. And then also the recording of today's session will be posted there in the future too. So from that event, from the Workforce Summit this fall, we wanted to continue the momentum of providing information and resources to you, the employers of the region, by doing these periodic lunch and learns, which will take a little deeper dive into the topics we covered at the Workforce Summit, and just give you some more resources and connections that hopefully you can use in your workplace. Our plan is to do these maybe once a quarter, so stay tuned and look for future information on those. But as you're aware, today's session is going to focus on connecting youth to career opportunities in our region, and we have 3 great speakers here today to talk to you. Carrie Bendix is the Executive Director of the Southwest Minnesota Private Industry Council. She'll lead off by talking a little bit about building a strong workforce through work-based learning and an overview of the importance of connecting with our students. Ariane Ferris is the CTE Project Coordinator with Southwest West Central Service Cooperative, and she'll share information about the LIFT program as well as the business engagement spectrum. And then finally, we'll have Kelly Rickert, the Youth Career Connector with Southwest Minnesota Private Industry Council, share some opportunities where employers can connect with the youth, whether it be career fairs, facility tours, speaking engagements, that sort of thing, as well as tips for you to make the most of your time when you are engaging with those students, because you don't get a lot of those opportunities during the year. So looking forward to that. So we'll save any questions for at the end, but feel free to enter them in the chat if you'd like. And as you have thoughts throughout their presentations, and we'll address them at the end. We just wanted to make sure we could get through the presentations in a timely manner today. And then also at the end, we'll allow some time for you to share anything that you're doing in your workplace that in this area of engaging the youth that's working for you, or maybe some lessons learned. We just also want to provide that opportunity to learn from each other. So feel free to hang on a little bit after for a few minutes if you're able. If you got to get going, I understand it's lunch, it's nice out, so totally understand that. So and then also, if you guys think of any other future topics that you'd like us to cover in future Lunch and Learns, please reach out to one of us, either through the chat or email me, and let us know what you're interested in. We'd love to hear it. So with that, I'll be quiet now and turn things over to Carrie to get started. Carrie? Share the screen here. See it okay?
You're muted, Carrie.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Carrie Bendix. I am, as Kevin mentioned, the Executive Director of the Private Industry Council. And I'm just going to give a little bit of an overview as to why working with our youth from a workforce development perspective is really, really important. Our workforce shortages are not expected to go away. For our region, the population has declined by 3% in the last decade, and our labor participation rate has also declined by 6.7%, which is a significant amount of money. Kevin, are okay. And also a new study has come out by the Center of Rural Policy and Development, and it shared that only 25% of our students in Southwest Minnesota actually are in meaningful employment 6-7 years after they graduate from college. And we also know that a lot of our students move away from Southwest Minnesota to go to college. And so how we engage our students, I think, is really important. We have, with the workforce shortage, being able to help them understand the great jobs that are in our local area. Many students feel they have to go away to get a good job. And I think as we work with college students right now in some of our college summer internship programs, we're finding that college students, when asked, when they come back to their local home, they often don't know where they want to work or what jobs are even available for the career that they're pursuing. So I think the more we expose our youth to local jobs, the more likely they are to want to stay and live and work in our region. The Private Industry Council is in the process of doing a regional and local workforce development plan. We had a session, Kevin and I, at the summit. We also did a survey, and the 4 top stakeholder priorities that came up for workforce development was 1, addressing workforce shortages, just the lack of awareness, or exposing our youth to local careers, the number of youth that leave our area, and then the skills gap. On the next slide, it kind of, I dug out some, one back. I dug out some information about, well, where do the students go? On the right side, you'll see that 24% go to 4-year college in Minnesota, 32% go to a 2-year technical college, and 44% go to college outside of our state. And one thing I noted that was really interesting is 39% of our high school students in the class of 2022 actually did not enroll in college, and that has been steadily declining since increasing, I should say, since 2017, where 21% of the students did not go to college. So that may be an opportunity for employers to create apprenticeship type or work and learn type opportunities where students can gain on the job skills and earn credentials at the same time. So that might be something as employers you want to consider. And then on the left, you'll see actually where the class of 2022, where the students actually went to college. On the next slide, you'll see that students really do want to learn. They want to experience careers. That's by far the best way for them to totally understand what careers are like. In that same study that showed that 25% of the students are actually staying and living and working in a meaningful way in Southwest Minnesota, shared 2 factors that really impacted their desire or kind of had a positive correlation to them staying, was career and technical education in the high schools and work-based learning. And so Ariane and Kelly will talk a little bit about that. And then I also wanted to share that the Workforce Board has identified 3 key regional workforce strategies that we'll be working on. The first one is this: increasing our high school students' understanding of and exposure to the regional occupations in demand. And so Kelly Rickard on staff is really leading the Youth Career Connector work for us. The second is around increasing the number of skilled workers through sector-based career pathways. And I'm excited to share that we just found out from the Department of Employment and Economic Development that we did receive a grant, a significant grant, to help with the training costs around to train skilled workers in the 5 key industries. and that includes the trades, healthcare, education, manufacturing, and technology. So we're very excited about that. More to come with that. And then lastly was to really provide training and assistance to help businesses retain and attract a diverse workforce. We did receive funding in that grant as well to bring in some trainers in the area, professionals who train in these topics. So we're excited about that. So back to the career and technical education concentrators and work-based learning. That'll be the kind of focus of today's presentation. So with that, I'll pass it on to Ariane, our career and technical education expert for the region. And thank you.
Make sure I unmute myself. Thank you, Carrie. So my name is Ariane Ferris. I am the Career and Tech Ed Project Coordinator with the Southwest West Central Service Co-op, leading the Launch Your Future Today, or LIFT Career Pathways in Southwest and West Central Minnesota. So Launch Your Future Today has really grown from a visionary idea to a tangible force committed to ongoing growth and positive impact. The goal of LIFT Career Pathways is for every student across the region to gain marketable skills through meaningful CTE courses and opportunities that lead to further education and careers that match our labor market needs. And so I'm going to put in the chat just a video if you have a chance. It's just a quick little video, 2 minutes, kind of explains, you know, if you're new to LIFT Career Pathways, gives you a little more detail that I would normally share, but with the limited amount of time, just wanted to put that out there. So moving on then to slide 2. What I really wanted to lift up here today, I think for our employers, really based too on what Carrie shared as far as just that need to really bring exposure and exploration experience opportunities to students. And so our business engagement spectrum is a tool that LIFT Career Pathways has been using across the region, but really just identifying that there are varying levels that businesses can engage. So you'll see it's from inform to empower, which ultimately, you know, I think it lends itself to the degree of influence that one might have over the decisions being made as well. So oftentimes we would share this and ask folks to bring it back to their organization or their company and talk a little bit about, you know, how does what this spectrum says, how does it fit with what we can do? Because there are many factors, many situations that really determine the degree of engagement. And we just want employers to know too that there's really no right or wrong placement on the spectrum. The framework here was really used early on, really since the inception of LIFT Career Pathways in 2017. The main priority with LIFT funding was not just for our schools to create programs solely on their own. We wanted them to really engage with the business community truly, and not just on the paper in the form of a partnership, but truly collaborating with one another for the sake of our future workforce and our local economies. So Launch Your Future Today, through our innovation grants and through our Connect Career Connected Learning efforts, in which we partner with Private Industry Council to perform in this neck of the woods, is really seeking programming that is aligned and integrated with industry needs now and into the future. And we believe that that can be accomplished through business and community engagement, extending really beyond that advisory capacity. Certainly that is necessary, but almost to the point where it involves guiding educators on what the relevant learning is and really ensuring that there is alignment with what's being taught in the school districts with your needs. You know, and also trying to make things within our school districts innovative, career connected, that are showcasing kind of the local and regional career opportunities. And our educators can't do that alone. And so really being able to provide those hands-on experiences such as the work-based learning and the out-of-school learning provided in partnership with businesses, we find just really helps students kind of build and determine what that pathway looks like for them, while also gaining those critical workplace skills. We certainly too believe that this alignment with business and industry fosters those connections with our local students that we want to stay in the region, especially when you look at Carey's numbers as far as just the declining population and the decreased labor force population. And if you read the study that Carey mentioned, one of the ways of kind of working towards some of these pieces as far as how we found those 25% define that meaningful, sufficient labor was really these work-based learning opportunities and these connections being fostered. And then lastly, we just know that this alignment of business and industry really brings sustainability through leverage resources and community partnerships that really address barriers for our students and our teachers, our schools, our community partners, and you as businesses. So you'll see there on the bottom in the green, these are just sort of examples of ways in which employers might engage as far as what it might look like at the various levels. The nice thing is that this engagement spectrum is not meant to necessarily be standalone or it should be fluid. So we anticipate businesses moving between the levels from time to time. I know when we first got started, many of our employers were in the Inform, really where they were just getting our newsletter and just being informed as far as what is happening. And then we have several employers moving all the way up to that collaborate and empower. And so they're kind of all over the spectrum here, as you can see. And so moving on then to the next slide, I just want to share with that we did just launch our new website this month. And so I would also encourage you all to go and check out our website. There is a plethora of information out there, and in regards to kind of what is being shared here today, I think primarily I wanted to point out the LIFT projects. So that is the third tab from the left on the homepage. And here you can find all the projects that are collaborative in nature, been awarded LIFT Career Pathway dollars to create and enhance kind of the career and tech ed programming in our region, really with the sole purpose of aligning business and education. We also have a fancy searchable database that you can filter by industry if you'd like, or even school district. But there it kind of just gives you the who, what, where, when, and why, and how. But also just to know that LIFT Career Pathways, or myself and our committee, we're also here and dedicated to visiting with folks to really help support you as employers on how to continue to engage with our schools and students, because we realize that you did not get into your business solely to engage with schools and students. And it is a space that we're very familiar with, and we certainly would love to help make those connections, foster those connections, and support all the parties that are involved to be successful in creating these projects. So lastly, I just want to encourage all of you to follow LIFT Career Pathways on Facebook and LinkedIn. A lot of different stories and pieces of information being shared there. Maybe that's your way to jump on board right away into that Inform part of the spectrum if you're not already further up on it, which I'm sure many of you are. Or also just you could receive our newsletter. Feel free to send an email to lift@swwc.org or LYFT. And then you can subscribe to our newsletter also on our website. And you're also welcome to email or call anytime, as I mentioned. Would love to visit with any of you further on that. But with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Kelly, because she is going to give you guys some real meat as far as ways that you can really begin to engage. So Kelly, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Ariane. So hello, my name's Kelly Rickert. I'm with the Southwest Minnesota Private Industry Council. I am one of 3 youth career connectors. I serve Big Stone, Swift, Lackaparle, Chippewa, Yellow Medicine, and Redwood counties. I have counterparts that work in Lincoln and Lyon County and some that work a little bit more in our south corner region of the state. We also have partners that do similar work, Central Minnesota Jobs and Training to the east of us, so serving like Candy, Ojai County. So there are other organizations that do similar work if you're a little bit outside our areas that I kind of mentioned. So I'm going to just kind of go through some of our actual examples of ways to engage and kind of our menu of options. So included on this slide is our flyer. So Youth Career Connectors help organize a variety of events, including job shadows, pairing students with a partner business, and being paired with an employee that they can observe. They can ask questions to, and those experiences can range from an hour, 2 hours, a whole day, several days, kind of depends on the situation. Business tours, so that could be one group of students visiting a business. We also have examples where we make it a full day for students. So on the left-hand side, you'll see some pictures of our tour of manufacturing. We've done it a number of years. We do manufacturing businesses and we correlate it with the Minnesota Manufactured Tours. So we're able to get the students and schools some busing funding, and students are able to see, I think, roughly 3 businesses in a day. So we kind of can combine it into a big event, or we just have, you know, maybe one group visiting a business, but that's kind of an example there. We have sometimes employers will reach out to us and say, hey, you know, I'd really like to bring in my local school for a business tour or some sort of event. And that's kind of how our tour of healthcare careers started. We had one hospital, they wanted to pair with one school and bring in some kids to really, you know, learn about their different departments that they had. It has since expanded to like 4 schools and 2 hospitals, and they were able to kind of check out some different departments. So that picture on the bottom there, students were able to practice suturing on towels. So that was pretty engaging for those students. So we really try and promote those hands-on activities. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a later slide. Guest speakers. So sometimes we invite business professionals to come into a classroom, speak just about their job. So we're not asking anything, you know, super hard. It's what do you do on a daily basis, or how did you get there? Just so students can kind of learn about some different occupations. Career readiness presentations are kind of the things we do usually before we send students out on job shadows and business tours and all that type of thing. So we might have them do a little career assessment to kind of see what they'd be interested in doing or where we should maybe send them to learn more. Sometimes we talk to them about soft skills, so they're a little bit prepared to be in the workplace. Mock interviews, we like to bring in business professionals so students get kind of a real world experience of, you know, maybe interviewing with someone they don't know, maybe someone that can provide them some tangible advice about their mock interview experience. And then if it's something that they're really interested in, it gives you a spot to kind of start that relationship with students. These are not all of our activities or events or things by any means. So if there's something, you know, someone's thinking about and they're like, I just don't know how I would do that, how I would manage that. We are all ears. I try to be a resource for my employers. So if there's some way that we can help connect you anywhere on that spectrum Ariane was showing you, we are happy to do that. So just because it's not on this list doesn't mean we can't try and make something like that happen. Next slide, please. The Private Industry Council has a way of keeping up with our events. So there is a QR code here you can scan to go to our upcoming events. Since we're getting kind of towards the end of the year, there's not a whole lot. But just to kind of keep that in mind that they are up there on our website. So scan the QR code, or you can go to www.swmnpic.org. A couple specific events I have coming up are the Lackaparle Career Fair at the high school. All the students are able to kind of walk through, meet with employers, have a lot of employers signed up to do booths. We also have a YMIC business tour day. So I have 6 area high schools that are going to Marshall to learn about Marshall businesses. It's like 288 students, so it's quite a few students that are exploring local careers. Also, we have summer work experience. So that's a program that's for eligible high school students to gain valuable work experience and an opportunity to promote your positions. So students can learn job-specific and soft skills, and they're also guided by a youth employment specialist through the Southwest Minnesota Private Industry Council. So there is, through that QR code, you can sign up if you're interested to be a host site for a student. And we'll also be doing some summer internships with students, connecting eligible high school students with a business where students can explore a variety of careers within the business and learn some industry-specific skills, especially, I think, in STEM careers. Next slide, please. So then I wanted to leave you with some tips and tricks for working with youth. For a lot of our events, we really try to do surveys and kind of connect with the youth on how things went. And so a lot of our results show that students really appreciate those hands-on activities, something they can do, see, touch. It really doesn't have to be anything super difficult. It could be as simple as typical things you wear on the job. Like for some jobs, there's PPE that they need to wear that they might be not familiar with. So we just ask businesses to bring, maybe their welding helmets or maybe your lineman gloves or something that students can kind of see, touch, play around with a little bit. This not only gives businesses the opportunity to bring kids into them, like in the case of a career fair, sometimes kids are a little hesitant to come up to you. So having something they can do, see, touch, will kind of bring them up to you. So you can kind of give them, the rest of what the job entails and what it's all about. But it also makes it memorable for the student. So, we want to leave an impact with them that, oh, I didn't know that this was here. I didn't know about this. So we want it to be memorable for them as well. Some other kind of specific examples, of course, it'll depend on what kind of business you're in or what kind of occupation you're in, but we've had a hospice place bring in a therapy dog. If you can imagine how many students came over to talk about hospice care, there were quite a few. We've had like egg people bring in plants and talk about how they figure out what stage of the growth that plant is in. We've had manufacturers bring in products that students can assemble and disassemble, just to name a few examples. And as youth career connectors, we're always willing to brainstorm with you too. So if you don't know what could I do that's hands-on, encourage you to reach out. Happy to brainstorm with you. Connection with students as an individual. So that's kind of, asking them, what kinds of classes they like, what are they interested in, and having a way to kind of bring that back to the career and what you would be doing. Just kind of having that kind of sort of a connection with them. Sharing stories and specific examples. So students like to know kind of like some specifics, right? What's the typical day in the life like? Oftentimes it's different every day. So maybe you give them an example of a really busy day versus kind of a slower day and what that looks like in your job. Genuine enthusiasm or why of your career. So students pick up on if you're not very excited about what you're doing. So I definitely encourage you to think about why you do your job and kind of convey that to the students. At the Southwest Minnesota Private Industry Council, we do try and prepare our employers for different specific events. So we try and send out some sort of, kind of information sheets. So I do have an example here of a career fair tips and tricks sheet. So it just kind of has maybe some starting off questions for students and some tips like standing up at the front of your booth to make yourself more approachable. And some of these tips came from other partners that we work with that attend a lot of career fairs. So they were also able to lend some of their kind of suggestions and how things have worked for them. So that was really helpful. So kind of both sides. It's coming from what we've heard from students, what we've heard from people who attend these events, and we try and make it successful by giving you kind of a guide to help you along the way. So with that, I think I will pass it back off to Kevin to kind of wrap us up.
Yeah, well, thank you guys, and for everyone, there's the list of contacts. If you have any questions or would like to follow up with any of our three presenters today, feel free to reach out to them. They'd be happy to help you out. So yeah, a lot of great information today. And at this time, I would open up for any questions anyone has. Feel free to unmute yourself and fire away if there are any brave ones out there. I guess I'll throw out a question for you guys that I thought of. You're talking about engaging students, and are there any efforts focused on engaging parents? Because they're typically the kind of the go-to reference for students, and a lot of times they're saying you have to go to college, you have to go to a four-year college off in the cities or off wherever. But do you guys touch on that area as well, or primarily focus on students?
We try to do both. The students, we have a little more captive.
Yeah.
So it's a little more easy. It's a little easier to get in front of them. I think a lot of times we're really hoping that the students will be excited. They'll get a really awesome experience from you as an employer, and they'll run home to mom and dad and say, oh my gosh, guess what? This is there, and I could go work there, and they'll pay for my college. And instead of coming out $60,000 in debt, I'm going to make $60,000 or whatever the case might be. And so I think there's that. I would say as far as like LIFT, and I think it's probably true as well with PIC. A lot of times my conversations with employers too is it really kind of starts, I think, with you guys too, to be able to help our parents visualize what that looks like. So many of them are very familiar with going kind of right to work and either kind of being in sort of, maybe a dead end job for so many years, or they went right to school. And then that's all they know. And so this whole idea of an employer providing like tuition assistance and scholarships and really helping them to sort of learn and earn is a very new concept, I think, for many, especially parents anyways. However, we do have parents now who are in a ton of debt because they made bad decisions and wish they would have had better opportunities to make better decisions, myself included. But anyways, so there's a lot. And so there's just a lot of, yeah. So I think sometimes it would be helpful too for, the employers stepping up as kind of like the college admissions in some sense of getting in front of those parents as well to say, here, this is a great place to come and work, and this is why.
Any other?
And they are
Oh,
a
go ahead.
tough audience to get in front of, I would say, you know, I mean, it is tough. They work, they have more than one job, they got kids, they got I mean, they're just as busy as the kids are. And so that's why I think it really takes, where I was going is that it just really takes a village to bring that awareness to that parent population.
I would agree with Ariane. It's difficult to get information to parents, but we do try with our social media campaigns and things like that, that we highlight careers that don't require a 4-year degree. We have infographics that we sometimes send home with students, that they're colorful and they talk about different education levels you would need in a career pathway. And then kind of the wages that a student might expect in those careers. So we're kind of hoping that some of that gets filtered down to the parents, but there's nothing super direct for parents.
Do we have any other questions out there? Okay. If there are no other questions, I guess now I would just maybe open it up to those that are still hanging on here. Are you guys doing anything at your workplace to engage students and youth, showing them, you know, the various job opportunities, career opportunities within your organization, or have you tried some things that didn't work? I guess now would be the time to share that with our group and learn from each other a little bit here. So again, if there's anyone that wants to step up, feel free to unmute and share.
This is Lorraine Hively from ADM.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, thank Carrie and Aaron and Carrie and Kelly. I think I said your names twice, on keeping us all informed on job fairs. That's about the best way for us here at ADM to get out in front of the students. And I know we're going to be involved in the YMIC business tour coming up. So yeah, just keeping us informed and getting the information out to the employers so we know when and where the job fairs are. Just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah. I guess I came across, I don't know if there's anyone here from the Kirkhoven area, but I noticed in their newspaper they had a kind of a unique program going here. I'll share my screen with the ad. It's ag related, and I believe they're their FFA and alumni and Ag Booster Club put together this internship program and asking for various employers in the ag community to allow a student to serve as like a four-week internship, just to kind of introduce students to different career paths in the ag industry. So I thought that was a unique program that they just are doing locally there. I don't know if this is their first year. I don't know if anyone on the call knows that or not, but it's the first I've seen of it. So I thought that was kind of a unique thing that they're doing. Anyone else?
If I may, Kevin, just
Yeah.
encourage everyone, if you're at all interested as an employer in any of the information, please do click the link and sign up. We also received, as I mentioned, some grants. We can help pay wages for eligible students for STEM internships. And we will be doing kind of a campaign for work experience opportunities for students. So if you're at all interested, we'd love to hear from you and help get connected with a student, maybe for the summer or for next year as well. So thank you.
And also, I just wanted to mention, I threw in the link to our the Workforce Summit page on our website that has the recordings from our summit from this fall. Feel free to go check that out, share with people in your organization or other people you might think could benefit from that. And again, that's where the recording of today's session will be as well. Any other questions for our panelists? If not, I guess the next thing are there any other topics that you guys would like us to cover in future Lunch and Learns? Now would be the time to share if you have any ideas or topics that you'd like us to see if we could get an expert to come in and present and talk to you guys.
Maybe folks could put it in the chat too.
Or
if
feel
they
free
wanna
to,
just
yeah, throw it in
down
the
there.
chat too. Okay. Well, like I said, if there are no other comments or questions or anything, I think we'll wrap it up today and then let you guys enjoy the rest of your lunch hour and get outside, maybe take a quick walk in the nice weather we have here. And if you do have things that come up in the future, feel free to reach out to any of us and we'd be happy to help out. So again, stay tuned and look for future webinars coming up maybe this summer. And with that, I'll close and have a great day. Thanks for joining us.